Actually, how I developed my style was I was watching Mark Roth bowl one day.
You're about the fifth person that's told me that.
Well, he shot 299 on TV and won the tournament, and then I got to see him bowl the next week at Dick Weber Lanes, and I looked at Dad and said, that's how I want to bowl. And I started going to the bowl and just trying to get my arm swing up as high as I could and try to rip the cover off the bowling ball. And you know, Dad kind of tweaked it a little bit. My brother Rich tweaked it a little bit, so they got me a little more smooth through the approach. And
you know, be in the office at 9 till 6 and whatever else. But at the same time, I made a lot of sacrifices to be able to do that, you know. I don't drink because I couldn't afford to be going out twice a week and partying and everything else. If you want to do it, just understand that, you know, you're going to have a time when you've got no money.
So there's some similarities in golf and bowling, and there are some differences, but I think the best thing about bowling is darn near everybody can play. And that makes the bowlers that do it for a living pretty doggone good, because we got to beat more people out there than all the other sports, it seems. But I think what we need to do is get back to what bowling is, and it is, in my mind, a sport. It has never not been. I think that one of the reasons why that we're on a downturn in our cyclicality is because we've allowed the recreation side to run amok.
I definitely understand the seduction of the big hook, and you know, the guys that want to throw the ball speed and the big hook because it makes the pins fly everywhere. It's just kind of interesting that, you know, I do have a lot of titles and did most of it by throwing the ball a lot straighter.
Your dad changed the entire history of the sport.
Yes. Yes, he did. He found a way to make the ball hook. You know, he barely soaked his balls, so they would still roll down the lane without just going in the left gutter, but yet get down the lane and hit with power. And then, you know, he told a couple people and tried to help them out, and it just spreaded throughout, and everybody's soaking their balls for hours, and hotels and everywhere that would get it. You know, it was just dangerous. You know, and he just had to soak it a little bit, and once he started doing that and the ball started hooking a little more, he had a little more reaction and hitting power.
Look, I think bowling in general is a very athletic sport, and I know it doesn't seem the traditional sense to the word athletic, but what we do for a very long period of time. We will bowl for a week straight. Our bodies are basically bruised and bashed by the end of it due to repetition. And much like every other sport that considers you to perform something over and over and over, your body will wear and tear in time. Obviously, the more, I guess, aggressive your style and action is, the more wear and tear on your body. So I guess you do have to look after yourself a little better.
It's really hard in your family, especially, you know, now I have an 8-year-old. But before, when she was really little, she didn't really have a sense of time and know, you know, when Dad was coming home or stuff like that. You know, now she knows that I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. And now we're bowling a lot overseas, so it's even harder. You know, I can't just get home if something happens, and you always have that worry in the back of your head.
Once I step onto the lanes, I definitely have ice in my veins, so to speak. I have extreme concentration, and I'm definitely, a lot of people say when they watch me on television competing, that I just look like I have a laser going to my target, and I look very serious. Now, that was actually something that I transitioned on TV with. When I first came on television, my first TV show, I smiled a lot. And I always had that big smile going on. And every time that I would strike or spare, I would smile back at the crowd, and that was good, but I found that I was kind of losing my competitive edge.
You know, for those that say I wasn't going to last, you're retired, I'm not.